Storygram Network.
Hey, Gerardo, what are you doing this summer?
What am I doing? Don't even get me started. There's a bunch of stuff that we're doing in the summer here at the center.
That's right. It's called Summers at the Center.
Summers at the center.
Thursday night, starting actually tonight, which is Thursday, beginning of summer. But we are going all the way to the end of
August.
September. August? Yeah. And what that means is you can come and try something new. Maybe it's a combo experience like brushes and beats where you'll dance and have bilingual paint night. Maybe it's trying line dancing with the Line Dancing Hometown Hoedown. Maybe it's a class, margaritas and Mexican ceviche.
Mexican ceviche. Yeah, that'll be me right there, Come
with
and
Chef
join
G.
us. Yeah.
We've also got Clay and Chardonnay, Bellinis and Birdhouses, salsa dancing and sangria, and 2 amazing concerts.
And let's not forget cocktails and competition.
Cocktails and competition coming
That'll
next
be
week.
nice. One of the big concerts is going to be the Cavani Jazz Project. That's going
right.
to be really good. And that will be in June 27th.
June 27th, that's coming, as well as what do we have coming at the end of August, which was hugely popular.
Yeah, that's Braulio Barrera con Kimba. That will be in August 29th.
And I think we're going to have our pals, our unofficial non-sponsors, but we love them, Costa
The
Tacos.
Costa Tacos. Whoop, whoop.
So come and join us. We like to satisfy all the palates. Tickets are available for individual experiences, or you can buy a summer pass for very affordability.
Yeah, they won't be disappointed. There's so many good things happening that they're going to be happy.
Exactly.
To buy the tickets.
Join us. Summers at the Center 2024. You can get your tickets at sonomacommunitycenter.org.
Yep. Let's get our dancing starting, huh?
You bet. Hello, we are the Sonoma Community Center podcast, a place of creativity, connection, and community. We highlight the artists, teachers, and the community that come through the doors of our historic brick building, often called the heart of Sonoma. We share local tips and shout-outs to our home, Sonoma Valley. And we are your hosts, Molly Spencer.
Gerardo Diaz.
We are the engagement team of the Sonoma Community Center. Gerardo.
Hey, what's up, Molly? It's been a while, huh?
Well, not too long, but
Wasn't
happy
it?
summer. We were here actually recording a couple of weeks ago.
With
we had
Haley.
Now
Was it Haley?
Kobayashi,
Now, that's right.
which was just released out here, episode 31. Can you believe it? We're almost at episode 32.
Wow.
I mean, maybe it's not a lot compared to like super professional podcasters in general, but we do what we can do, and they're all out there, and there's always a story to hear.
Yep. We're novice.
I know. So it's exciting. We're kicking off summer, and we have so much coming up. We have all these Summers at the Center, which is basically every Thursday night. There's either a concert or a combo dance class. Music, line dancing. You're doing a ceviche one coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing a ceviche and margaritas, I believe.
When is that? In July?
That's July 25th.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
after my camping trip, too. I'm going to be gone for like 5 days, coming back and making ceviche and drinking margaritas.
Are you catching the fish?
No. I'm a catch and release, so I can't really. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll say a little bit more about that. Stay tuned, and you can hear everything about Summers at the Center 2024. But first, I want to get on over, and let's not beat around the bush. I probably should have asked her how I say her last name correctly, but I'm going to give it an attempt because I love to speak Italian poorly. But today we have Claire Carlomagno. You like that? I did not do it.
It was close. G is silent.
Mano.
Carlomagno.
Carlomagno. Yeah, I know that G is silent. I only took like a year of 20 years ago.
I think I can do it because in Mexico we have the N. It's called Ñ. So we call Niño. So Carlomagno.
Carlomagno. Clearly Italian.
Yes.
I want to loop back around that because I'm always
Absolutely,
obsessed
always.
with Italian.
Yes, yes.
I call Claire the master of disguise. Every time I see her, she
Yes.
looks different.
Exactly. You are the master disguise. I mean, I didn't do a lot of homework, but it was exciting. Like all of a sudden it hit me last week. I'm like, let's have Claire on. She's got such a story. You kind of popped up on my radar last year, but you're a super rich and diverse instructor here for many programs, Sewing with the Kids, Art and Clay, Queer Art Club, as well as you're leading up the Queer Art Camp this year. But I know you were a part of it last year as well, right?
Yes, yes. And textile camp.
And Textile Camp. And beyond that, I know that you are a studio assistant as well for Kala Stein Ceramics.
Yes.
As well as I see you at Farmers Market for Paul's Produce, and you're at Oak Hill. What I didn't know is that you're an herbalist as well.
Yeah.
And oh my God. Whew. Okay. Clearly, like the community center, we all wear many hats. I mean, Gerardo, you want to name your like top 3 jobs of your many?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
finish, you know, Claire is also a lifesaver, no?
A lifesaver?
Yeah, she's a
I am a certified lifeguard.
lifeguard.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really interesting story
Yes.
She
because I
does it
can't
all.
wait. Because, I mean, really, I think a lot of people that come to the community center and end up working here in one way or another are the type of people that wear many hats and can do a diverse amount of things. And I think it just lends to you follow your passions.
Yes.
So going backwards, let's start a little bit about like here and now, how you got to the community center, and then we'll go backwards and grow up with you.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love being at the center, working at the center. It's just really enriched my life for the last couple of years. So it's a pleasure to be here. I was thinking about this today, all of these different kind of pathways and things that I do. And I was like, how am I going to even talk about all this stuff? I kind of love astrology. And today is a new moon in Gemini. And I was thinking about that because I have, for those astrology nerds out there, I have Gemini on the 10th house of career. And Gemini is like lots of interests, lots of different,
That's my
loves
rising
to learn
sign.
and research. And yeah, so it's like, that's my career house. So I will never be satisfied with one job. Like I love to learn and be in different communities and kind of weave it all together. So
That's amazing.
I'm
You were
Gemini too.
preaching to the
Nice,
choir.
nice.
I am
We
not
got
a
some
Gemini,
heavy Gemini
but
here.
I have rising Gemini, and I have about 6 houses there, which is why I'm always starting a new
planets
department.
in
yeah,
the house?
planet. Yeah.
Okay, you are very Gemini.
So I'm probably more Gemini than I am Taurus.
Nice. Nice. I love that.
I know. So lots to do. And there's so much. Like it actually runs in the family too. So I don't know if your family's like that, but we all do wear many hats. We always say,
Yep.
jack of all trades, master of none. But life is too interesting to just stick with one thing.
I know. So,
Although I admire people that know that
same.
path, you
I
know?
think that's an amazing quality to be able to stick with something for a long time.
Yeah. I'm super happy that you're open to it. And it kind of helps lead you.
Yeah, totally. Like Gerardo says, master of disguise, but like chameleon, I think there are. I just have multiple ways that I like to express myself and find nourishment within the community and within the things that I do. Yeah, so I came here, started working here, I guess, last year.
Yeah. Was it last year?
Yeah, it was the beginning of last year, maybe.
Was it
Through
through the-
Lexi.
Okay, Lexi
Yeah.
is our not here right now, but she is here actually today. Lexi is our youth coordinator, but has a couple of young ones.
Yes.
She's great.
She's great. So
Yeah.
we met and just had like immediate mutual admiration. And there was just some, I guess, ways that there was jobs here that she thought I would be good at. So she kind of loved my textile work and invited me to, I think, teach textile camp.
Okay.
And from there, as you know, being here, it's just kind of like you keep finding new things to do and new people to work with. And so, yeah, so from there, I also taught the queer art camp with Ash Hay.
Yeah.
And that was so fun.
How was that?
It was so fun.
So a little bit about Queer Art Camp. I'd love to just share that off the bat
Please.
because we are in the summer. If anybody is listening now, we started it Oh, my Lord. I think we start working with Positive Images, which I can't say enough about Positive Images. They're an amazing grassroots LGBTQ organization, so grassroots, so cool. And they're out of Santa Rosa, and they've been working with us, I think, through COVID, but it might have been before COVID we started. So you're leading the camp this year.
Well, I'm participating in
Okay.
it. Marion, who is in with Positive Images,
Love
love Marion,
Yeah.
is leading. I think I'm teaching 3 days or something like that.
Okay.
And textiles. I think I'm teaching textiles.
Mostly the textiles. I also saw that AV, as well as, do you know Brittany and Anne, who's
Maybe.
doing some of the, I think they actually have a DJ show on KSUY. I'm trying to make that connection. I was looking it up, but we'll
Nice.
find out. But
Yeah, I get to be with them once a month doing the Queer Art Club.
yeah,
And that's also just such a pleasure. We have so many wonderful teachers doing all different kinds of things come through. And I
know.
learned so much. And I get to just sit in the class and participate and assist. And it's just such a total pleasure.
I love it. I mean, it is Pride Month.
Yes.
But the nice thing about not just Pride Month and representing here and celebrating is we plan to do this all year long. We do Queer Art Camp once a year. That's in July this year. But the Queer Art Club is every month. It's open to teens. I think it's 10 to 17 for
That
that
sounds
particular one.
Yep.
And just putting it out there for people if they are listening. That they're hello out there.
Yes. Yes.
We are always looking to participate and have more support groups in anything that the queer community, especially the youth, might be interested in.
Yes.
So,
Come join us.
exactly. Yay.
Yay.
I know. So that's what you're currently doing just here.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what you do outside of the Sonoman Community Center as well right now.
Yeah. So you were right. I do work for Paul's Produce on market days. So I just assist in markets. I farmed for many years for a restaurant in Berkeley called Chez Panisse.
Oh, wow.
And that
we all know that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Alice Waters.
Yes,
Queen.
Alice. So that was kind of the beginning for me of falling in love with the plants and falling in love with farming. And that kind of began my journey of love of what I've been doing for the last decade. I was trying to think of like what weaves everything that I do together. And
Yeah.
it's definitely the plants, the flowers, and just my love for the earth and tending the earth and taking care of the earth. I feel just like it really is super inspiring. So after the years of farming, when I kind of learned to fall in love with the land and talk to the plants and
Did you grow up in a rural community or did you find it later in life in your 20s?
I was going through like a breakup. It was my first queer like love and we broke up and I was like, who am I? What am I doing? You know,
How
what the
old
heck
were
am I
you?
going to do? I was
'Cause
20.
you're not that old.
No, I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was
pretty young.
23. And my godmom was like, hey, like there's this program at Green String Institute, Green String Farm.
Yeah, I knew it.
And-
I feel like I saw you out there. Did you ever go out to Green String?
It's closed now.
Oh, well, no, I know that. But
On the Peluma?
yeah, Bob Cannard's.
Had you been there,
thing.
Gerardo?
No, but I think I used to know the owners of that place because
yeah.
I guess their father
Bob Cannard.
he used to
Started.
own General's daughter.
Yeah.
In the
yeah.
back, there was like a little farm.
That
there.
was Bob's father's property.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
That
And
guy
there's
used to-
four brothers.
That guy was really cool.
There might be more than 4.
I think the father.
Maybe more than
I think
four.
there's
4
5.
that I know. Okay.
The father used to come in and knock on the window on the restaurant, and
Yeah.
he used to get everything for free.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's an epic legend in this community. I'm just diversing, and I know he was close with Alice, and they really brought certified organic farming to the forefront. And it's nice to see as Ross Cannard is still continuing
Bob's
that
son.
on. So
yes. Yeah,
amazing,
it was
you know?
a really profound and important time in my life to
did you live out there?
Yeah, so I did
Yeah.
this summer internship. So I did 3 months, lived out there over the summer months, and met a group of, I think there was like, I don't know, 17 of us or something. We all lived in the same house.
It looks so fun. I was like late 30s having a kid, and I'm like, I want to intern for the summer here at Green String.
It was fun and it was like hard work, you know? I mean, we would go out super early in the morning and we would farm until lunch, and then we would come in and have lunch, and then we would go to lesson with Bob for the rest of the afternoon.
Wow.
So he would do lecture about something to do with farming.
You guys used to get paid?
I think they provided like bulk food, and I think we had a small stipend. I can't totally remember. But so that was like a really big deal. And then from there, I just kind of kept working for Green String. And at some point I was invited to, so the farm that Bob started that is up Sober Vista Road where Ross now farms, where Bob raised the kid, the family up there. That was separate from Green String.
Okay.
So that was kind of like, they took interns from Green String to come and do morning harvest sometimes for the restaurant up at Sober Vista. And it was always like such a big deal to kind of go up there because it was just so special. And, Bob had created this place over many.
I have never been up there, but I gotta go.
Super special. So I just ended up going up there, and the people who lived there and worked there, I became friends with, and it was kind of just like the next step was to join. So I got invited to work at that farm, and so I was there and lived there for several years and worked, and did farming and learned a ton of stuff about.
They say you need you need a doctor infrequently, and I think you need a lawyer once in a while, but you need a farmer every day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was a lot of hard work for sure, but it was like a very, in a way, romantic time just to like walk out your front door and pick a bunch of stuff and cook a meal and meet with all the chefs and decide what to plant and cook, 20 different pots of beans to decide which one we like the best. And
this is for Alice's restaurant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for Chez.
So you got to kind of be on that forefront of creation
yes.
for like a world-renowned restaurant known for their...
Yeah, I feel very lucky to have been a part of that community and family. And my partner at the time was a cook for Chez. And so there's just a really sweet reciprocity that kind of happened between the restaurant and the farm.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that word up because I
cool.
don't know it.
You do know it.
I believe when my kids were in third grade, we went to a farm. It was called the Full Belly Farm.
Oh, yeah. Full Belly is wonderful.
And so we were camping, and every morning we had to go get eggs from the chickens. And then they made us pick all the asparagus because the asparagus grows every day. So every day you had to go.
If you can get it started, I tried an asparagus
it takes
plant.
3 years.
It took me years.
It takes 3 years.
Oh, okay. That's right about when it died.
Yeah. And then you go.
Nice.
That was beautiful.
It's kind of fun to see it just sticking straight up from the ground.
Yeah. The best thing was when you're taking out like carrots and you see that orange.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like,
that's so rewarding.
Potatoes.
Yeah, things that kind of grow underground.
Cool.
Amazing.
I'm in the flower world. That's where I came from. So I understand on that. I love doing my summer garden, which is not very prevalent right now, but flowers, just from a floral perspective, is like,
No, flowers are kind of where I ended up kind of moving towards after farming.
Herbalist, right?
Yes. So my body was kind of like broken after full-time farming for many years.
Oh, for sure.
And I needed a break. And I also really wanted to learn how to grow medicinal herbs, not cannabis, but like medicinal herbs. And
which are in our yards everywhere.
Yes, totally. Our culinary herbs, our weeds, our, cultivated medicinals. So I ended up having a friend who started a tea company in Berkeley who used to come and harvest we would give her a bunch of sage and lemon verbena up at Sober Vista, and she had gone to this herbal school in Forestville, the California School of Herbal Studies. And so she said, you should go there.
I always wanted to go there too, Claire. You're living my young life.
And so I went to the medicine show. Every year they have like a medicine show in June where the Roots of Herbalism students get to show their medicine and like the creams that they're making and the oils that they're making and the tinctures that they're making. And they kind of like present it to the community to show what they're learning. And I went to one of the medicine shows and saw the garden and met, the garden teacher and all these teachers. And I just completely fell in love. Rosemary Gladstar started that herbal school back in the, I want to say late 60s, early 70s. And from there, she has started many other things, including Traditional Medicinals, which is the tea company that a lot of us drink from.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, which was originally Rosemary and a bunch of her herb school friends knocking on doors with a tea blend, and now it's an incredibly large, still wonderful tea company. Yeah, and so I moved there onto the land at Emerald Valley, which is where the herb school is, and I attended the first year program, Roots of Herbalism. So that, I had gone into it thinking, I'm going to learn how to grow herbs, and that's why I'm here. And
sure, because you've been in farming mentality for so long that's where you think on that level.
Totally. So that was I was like, that's what I'm going here for. And then of course, it opened an entire world of many other things for me and became so much more than I could have ever imagined, and provided this really special community of people and healers and earthy medicine people and people who cared about plants and nature in the way that I did, and carrying on folk medicine traditions.
How long ago was this?
So this was 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Okay,
yeah.
Sweet. So I saw something, because of course I'm going to stalk your Instagram.
Please.
I did last night. I'm like, oh, maybe she's on here. I've been trying to take a little break from it, but I did last night. What fascinated me around that time too, because I know you have a workshop, almost like a herbalist camp coming
Yes,
up
I'm doing
here
a folk
in June.
herbal summer school.
I wish I knew.
It.
That's taking place. Do you still? So can people still sign up?
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and just say it out right now. If they're listening right now.
So I'm teaching a folk herbal summer school out of my house this June 17th to June 21st.
You live in Sonoma.
I live in Sonoma and Sonoma Valley. Yeah, and it's basically just a 101. If people are interested in herbalism and botanical medicines, it's going through some of the body systems and the therapeutics associated. So digestive systems and which herbs are indicated for that, and nervous system and which herbs are indicated for that. And then there's a medicine making component after each day of lecture where we make a tincture or a salve or a tea. Or
this is kind of fascinates me. I'm sure you love all the herbs, just like I love all the flowers, but there's always some that you're like, it's your go-to. What's like your top 5 favorite?
That's so funny. People do ask me this. So,
I know. I get that with flowers all the time.
So I will say that, so after my first year of doing the Roots of Herbalism program, I stayed for the second year program, intermediate community herbalist program. And in that program, we had to do a final project. And mine was flower essences. So how are flower essences used as energetic medicine during the time of people's death? So that was kind of like my research project. And from there, flower essences actually became one of my main studies in medicines. And it's what I currently teach at the herbal school. It's interesting because if you're asking me what's my favorite flower essence, that's a whole other thing than what's my favorite herbal medicine.
Let's do that. Yeah.
I have.
Because I'm curious.
Yeah. So I love the native Mariposa lily.
Okay.
And it's a really beautiful, special flower that's found in California. Usually you can find gold nugget, which is a type of Mariposa lily here in the valley.
Okay.
Up on the mountains. Probably right now it's blooming.
Yellow, right?
Yellow.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And I have always found that flower to just be a real guide for me. It always shows up, when I kind of need that assurance that I'm in the right path and I'm doing the right thing. And this flower will just show up. But as far as
it's your
plants,
spirit,
it's one of my spirit
flower
plants,
essence.
100%. And I use it in my craniosacral practice often.
Okay.
Yeah, but plants
another sidewinder. We'll get to that too.
I was like, oh my God, another thing I do. What I would say to the plant question is if we were saying, if you were on a desert island and you could only take these 5 plants, what would you take?
Yes.
I would answer a different way than what are your 5 favorites? Do you know what I mean?
Favorites are like spiritual, like
Yes.
Olfactory.
Yes.
Like it creates a different environment than like a practical usage. Like if you ask Gerardo, he's probably going to go with his practical, like what would you take if you were on a desert island as far as herbs go and culinary thing. So it's totally different. Like it's a practical how to feed and use it as medicine. And then there's ones that you love because they're just like, I mean, there's always going to be the side effect of some beneficial thing to nature. But then there's some I'm just like, oh, just smell this forever. Wild lupin, forever.
Yeah.
Lavender and cilantro. I like the smell for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Totally. Well, lavender is a really great nervine, which in herbalism means it's super nervous system supportive, which is why it kind of has that calming quality,
effect.
right?
Oh, okay.
So it's used in medicine often as like kind of like maybe to make a formula taste good. When you're taking some herbs that maybe don't, if you put a little lavender, a little licorice, or something that kind of harmonizes and makes you want to take it.
That's fascinating.
And cilantro is a carminative, which is like helps you with aids digestion.
Oh, nice. I love cilantro.
I can only tolerate it a little bit, but
Some people they say it tastes like soap.
Yeah, Lexi and I.
There's a Lexi.
My wife is the same way.
You've got me.
I think my mom is the same way.
Yeah. They say that, like, I even looked it up. Like, it's a particular taste bud thing that just you have.
One of the other things that it bothers me is when I eat. I love pineapple, but when I eat pineapple, for some reason it feels like it has like little tiny knives, and it kills my taste buds. Once I eat pineapple, if I taste something else, there's no taste. It's almost like when I had COVID and there was no taste at all.
Interesting. That's got nothing to do with bromelian.
And I thought it was for
like
everyone. I thought
thing.
everybody was the same way. Like I saw Josh eating. I'm like, oh, don't eat pineapple. You're going to eat something else. And I got to taste like, no. I'm like, what? As soon as I eat pineapple, and if I want to taste a piece of gum, I can't taste anything.
Eating tangy shards.
So it feels like it's like little tiny knives, like killing my taste buds,
Yeah.
when I eat pineapple.
God, we'd probably go down the route here.
What do you think about that, Claire? What's your thoughts,
I mean, yeah, that's a cool thing. It's like everyone has a different experience of food and plants, and a medicine that may be good for someone is not right constitutionally for someone else. So we each have to know our bodies and what feels good and what doesn't, and go from there for sure. And I think that's what I love about herbalism too, is that it has an approach of like, there are so many different herbs for so many different kinds of things, but that people have an opportunity to kind of feel into which ones feel more aligned.
My wife had a problem with like going to the bathroom and stuff. So they give her all these medicine. Nothing will do it. And then in Mexico, they brought her this...
Senna?
Senna. Become seno de mujer in Mexico.
My mom was a homeopath, so...
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I've got
first time,
like
she drank
calendula and
that.
hypericum. I mean, and arnica, all this internally. Like the calendula and hypericum, like if you're ever doing any mouth stuff or anything like that, is life-changing. Got braces, cutting up your mouth, you're doing anything like that. The calendula and hypericum wash
Hypericum is for those who don't know Latin.
Oh my
is St. John's wort.
Yes, exactly. And it literally, I know, sorry. It looks like it's cool little brown.
Yeah. So Senna did it for my wife. Now she drinks that every other day.
Listen, Senna works. These plants work. It's
do.
like it's real.
And as a culture, we've gotten pretty far away from that in American culture of listening to.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you kind of find that?
Well, it's interesting because like even a lot of Western medicine was originally kind of inspired by plants. I mean, like take like meadowsweet, Filipendula. It is a plant that's good for stomach healing, lining, and inflammation. And it has a constituent that is found in aspirin. Basically, it has the same constituent. So they probably took this plant, found this constituent, saw that it worked, isolated it, and then made it into a drug.
Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you could go so far, not just on the earth, but all the sea kelp and everything that's in the ocean as well.
Yeah.
That's in our toothpaste and everything.
Okay, but I'm going to do my
Yes,
5 top.
Do your 5.
Because
I'm giving you a little time to think about it while we've been chatting.
Okay. And this changes every once in a while. But right now, today, my top 5, shout out to Yarrow.
Love it.
Love yarrow for many, many reasons. I would say I always keep echinacea on my top because it's such an incredible immune herb and works for me personally. I would say this plant called Yerba Santa, which does grow here in the valley, but I mostly like it for its flower essence properties, although it's an incredible lung supportive herb.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So that, I would say Yerba Santa. I would say Oregon grapefruit.
Tell me about that.
Okay.
Like that. Sounds of that.
I mean, Oregon grapefruit is like for me, it's a gut healer. It's got berberine in it, which is like a really strong anti-inflammatory, and it just really supports with hormonal regulation, and
Great.
It's easy to take and it's abundant. And that's the other thing is I like herbs that are easily cultivated and abundant, and that you don't have to go find and wildcraft in the wild in ways that don't feel appropriate to respecting the land and the tradition around land tending and the ways that natives and indigenous people to this land practiced land tending.
There's a reason why things grow where they are.
Exactly.
And they can often treat what you're experiencing as far as symptoms go, allergies and that kind of stuff around here. It's kind of a small circle. Yeah, it's so interesting, especially in Sonoma Valley, because there is a lot of pollen and stuff floating around. There's a lot of allergies, but there's a lot of things to treat that with as well. A long time ago, I remember a guy and his son. He was a farmer, but he wasn't farming when he was in town. They lived up on Cavedale, and every year they took a little tincture of like poison oak. Like they would drink this poison oak tincture that would basically build their immunity. And they just kind of over the years, they did it every year. I'm sure it works like the same idea as bee pollen and that sort of thing. So
For sure.
I'm immune to poison oak.
That's lucky.
So lucky.
I used to go wee-whack, places, and then my friend used to go with me, and just the breeze, the powder that was in the air.
Yeah.
That's
you
me.
start turning like a tomato.
That's me.
Do you have any like farming and that kind of stuff? I know that I have a few like sunflowers. When all the pollen gets on me, it gets real itchy. Is there certain things that you kind of found? Or?
I mean, when I was harvesting tomatoes for like 10 hours a day, your hands turn black and green in the tar and sticky, and that can definitely be irritating. I'm sure there are other things. Like things with tiny little thorns that you don't really see, and then it just scratches up your arm and it's itchy. But
did you say what the Oregon grapefruit was? Wow, I'm really going ADD here.
No. So Oregon grapefruit was the anti-inflammatory for the gut, and these herbs have many other indications. I'm just naming very brief description. But my 5th herb, just to finish that out, would be passion flower. Passiflora.
Oh,
passion flower.
The Christ, whatever it's set up as it was supposed to be, like
oh my
the
God,
body
really?
of Christ. Yeah, the story behind that is passion flower has
it's
stamens. It looks like a cross, and this is supposed to be the apostles around it.
Interesting.
With their,
now I need to look at the passion flower.
I mean, there's
it's
lots
really
of stories
psychedelic looking.
Yeah,
and
it's fantastic.
It's really, it makes me sleep. I need something to make me sleep.
I didn't know that. So it's got kind of a calming.
Very. I really like passion flower.
Nice.
And it's easy to grow. You can grow it as a vine in your yard if you want something pretty and something medicinal. So
yes, I love them. Purple, and then you see the other. I don't see there's like a reddish one too, isn't there? I don't see that so often.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe I'm tripping.
I don't know.
So this is just your other herbalist side. That's the one.
That's it. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It did show that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the purple one.
Yeah, it's a purpley one.
Yeah. Okay. It is kind of psychedelic looking
too.
though, huh?
And what do you do? What is it good for?
It's really good for nervous system regulation and sleep. And
do you need to dry it and then?
You could dry it. You could tincture it fresh.
In your workshop, I'm sure you go
I go over
that
all
and how
this. Yeah, I'll go over ratios,
extract.
like how much plant matter per menstruum, which is like what you're mixing it into, whether it's alcohol for a tincture or glycerin for a glycerate, or, vinegar for an acetum, or honey for a melita. There's so many ways.
So many ways. Again.
Yeah. Well, part of me wanting to teach this is like, I want people to realize that they have folk herbalism is like, it's like the people's medicine. We have the ability to take care of ourselves and our community in these ways. And if we just remember and learn traditions that were passed down from not only indigenous peoples, but Western herbalists and Chinese medicine practitioners and Eastern medicine. And
well, I'm a full believer. You're preaching to the choir right here, which is amazing. And I think people don't even know half the time the things that they're eating can be on the healing side. If people were going to reach out to you for this, I think it's coming up pretty soon, though, your workshop.
It is.
But is there a way to find you if they ever want to get into the herbalist?
Yeah. They can get onto my Instagram, which is, do I say it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Spell
it out.
Yeah, it's at Claire, Claire, Unamoon, Oonamoon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and you can still sign up. I think my registration is open up till next week. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Claire.
Yeah.
What's the name of this flower right here?
That's oleander. That's poisonous.
I know. That's what I want to ask you, but I couldn't remember the name on that one because we used to work in this hotel and we used to have it. And my boss was like, do not eat that flower right there.
I feel like it's like in
it.
romance novels, like people use it to poison their husbands and stuff.
No,
Yeah.
No way.
You know what I found out about? So I hate
Such
to
a
say
beautiful flower.
Yeah,
it's used in
is
like
really
highways
pretty.
a lot.
They put it in highways. They put it
Yeah,
everywhere because it's fast growing and it's like instead of a
bush.
fence.
It doesn't
you're
take
gonna
a
have
lot of
an
maintenance.
oleander that's gonna grow up there. But you know what I found out was real, and this I thought I knew kind of at least a lot of the herbs in the world. So I'm not gonna lie. My daughter and I watched the Vampire Diaries for years, and to keep off, they would take vervain, right? I found out it was real because I took a calming kind of rescue remedy-ish type of thing that had vervain in it. We couldn't believe it.
Blue vervain, another really good nervous system
plant.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one.
Medicinales that happens on Mondays.
Every other Monday.
Oh, with Lulu?
With Lulu. Yes.
Lulu is amazing. Lulu is a part of the Botanical Bus, which is a mobile herbal clinic that I work for once a month, but it happens every weekend, I think every month, but there's different locations. I think Lulu practices at every one. Right now, I think Lulu is doing foot care there. Check out the Botanical Bus. It's an amazing clinic.
And so we're kind of like a lab, right?
Yeah.
It's basically every Monday night.
Lulu's doing this class,
it's all
right?
Spanish. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think they do like a medicinal remedy kind of thing. It depends like what they want to do. Like, oh, you want to work on your lungs or, want to work on your kidneys. This is what, what you do.
I'm sad that I don't speak Spanish because I always want to.
I know. I'm in that place too of I need to be bilingual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Spanish
she
is so
sounds
easy to learn.
She sounds like both of you. I'm always just impressed with people that have this wide knowledge of plants and herbs and nature and how to bring that to really enhance your life.
You really need to be connected to earth to do this kind of thing. So
I think so. I think though that there are people who are more like, ether, air kind of people. And I don't know, there's more fiery kind of people, but I do think that
Gerardo's water.
I'm water too. I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, is that a water sign?
Yeah.
Gemini is air.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
but you're a fisherman and you love the water.
I think like earth is what keeps us all, like the love for the earth, and it's what keeps my soul.
When I was young, I did some shrooms, and that was really good to like connect with earth. So.
Totally. I mean, that's a medicinal plant.
We used to go camping and
that's
then take that. And
plant. There's a great psychedelic plant workshop, I think, at the California School of Herbal Studies that you can take.
Isn't it Mexico has like this shaman that takes you and
I'm sure that is
to another world.
Waka, or what's it called?
I don't know. It's like you know what I'm talking about.
I heard some people.
I heard some people.
What's
Ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes you to another world.
Yeah.
It's actually
You know?
changed some people. I mean, if you're using psychedelics in the right way, not like teenager where I'm all, yes, let's go. Let's go to Maxwell Village and see some pterodactyl birds.
Yeah.
We're birds. But I've had people really change the direction and some deep connection of their lives through psychedelic plants, you know?
Yeah. I think there's a fine line between using these medicines in a guided and like culturally appropriate way.
Yeah.
And then there's people who I think
abuse them,
take it too far and are taking away from these cultures and communities that have these plants that they've been using in their families and lives for centuries.
Have you seen that the new movie?
Right.
There's a movie about the Sasquatch. Have you seen that?
No.
They take shrooms and it's a whole trippy in the whole movie they're tripping the Sasquatch.
If you watch any movie from the 60s, you can pretty much go there easily.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Yep. Although I have had like psychedelic experiences from taking low doses of regular botanicals, but just like really tuning in and really like listening to what the plant is trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. So my dad he is an Orthodox priest for church, right? So when his eyes were starting to go, and every Sunday when he would say his things, he was also growing a lot of farming out in Sebastopol, and he was doing tobacco for some reason, right? He was harvesting tobacco, and it went kind of psychoactive on him. He said, which was really a trip because he felt kind of out of sorts. Except when he went to go look at the paper and the words, he could see clearly what was on the paper. Isn't that weird? So he kind of focused in. So, but I'm sure everybody's got a trip. You know, this trippy story.
The time that I did some stuff is like I learned how to just let it take you. You know, don't fight it. And that was, relax and just. Because the first time I did shrooms, I kind of panicked a little bit. And the guy who was with me, he's like, hey, you need to relax, man. Just let it take you, man.
That's good advice, Gerardo.
Just flow. And I did it. And after that, I started kind of like doing it. And I was like, oh, sweet. It took me there, where I want to be. So,
that
but
sounds
it wasn't.
Claire's life.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind I feel like you're guided and you have a pretty open pathway. You're open to where it's taking you.
Yeah. I will say I have been through some intense tests and tribulations to where I am, for sure.
Do you want to talk about like where were you born and where did you kind of grow up? And
I was born in Sonoma Valley Hospital.
Oh, nice.
No way.
A native of Sonoma.
You are a true native.
As well as my father was born in Sonoma Valley Hospital.
Nice.
Wow.
My family on my mom's side, my Italian family, immigrated to San Francisco in like 1901 or 2 or 3. And they used to take a boat across before the Golden Gate Bridge was built.
Yeah.
And they would come up here to Boys Hot Springs in the summer and swim.
It's a vacation
in the
place.
spring.
So they came up to the springs.
Yes.
Those are our houses now. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
house.
Correct.
Right on
They used to be
Riverside.
bungalows before.
Yes, exactly. So my nanny Anne and my nanny Lucy, so my papa's mom, my grandfather's mom, nanny Lucy, bought a house on East Thompson. And they would come up here since like 1930.
That was back when there was water in that creek.
Yeah.
I can only
Yeah.
imagine. It just sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah. They just thought it
And-
was so beautiful.
This place, there's a lot of Italians that.
Well, I will say,
really came on board here
in
in Snow
2022, I took care of my grandfather as he passed. So my papa really raised us. My parents are wonderful and they worked a lot. And my grandpa and my papa and my nanny were really who, my papa would show up in the morning and make us egos and take us to school and pick us up from school and take us to sports and pick us up from sports. And
Oh, wow.
so I was at his house and with him every day of my life, basically, till I got older. And I think I just lost track of what I was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, but I took care of him as he passed away in 2022. And after he died, I decided to go visit where him and my nanny were from in Sicily and Calabria and Italy. So
Okay.
I went to Sicily and it was like my first thought was like, this looks like Sonoma.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, this is why all these Italians who lived in San Francisco came here to this kind of like Mediterranean type place. And we're like,
kind of Tuscany.
Okay, we're climate, not home in Sicily, but this is close.
That's why you see a lot of lemon trees around here and olives, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, where I live, it was Greeks, but it's very Mediterranean around here.
Definitely.
And the climate for growing similar produce and herbs and that sort of stuff is exactly the same. Wow. So
I was born here.
Yeah.
I was born here. I was raised here. I went to high school here? I went to Sonoma Charter School and Altamira Middle School.
You went to Sonoma Charter School?
Yeah, I was there.
I think I knew that.
Wow.
I was there I think the second year it was open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go all the way through 8th grade there?
I went through 6th grade and then decided to switch to Altamira for 7th and 8th. And then I went to Sonoma High, and then I went to Santa Rosa High.
What year did you graduate in Sonoma?
So I went to Sonoma High for my freshman and senior year. And the middle years, I was in Santa Rosa High. Senior year, I graduated 2008. Yeah, and then I always lived, I moved and went to art school and studied different things and lived in San Francisco, lived in the Bay, lived in Petaluma, and then lived in Forestville.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit and my grandfather needed kind of more care and assistance, I moved back here. And so I started basically farming a little bit and, when we couldn't do anything. And I decided to kind of go back to the land. And
I call it the year of great compost. My compost was never better
That's
than
right.
2020.
That's right.
2021, really.
That's right. And so then I thought I had no plans on staying, but I did.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to hear it. He passed in 2022?
Mm-hmm. He passed in 2022.
Is that where you live? Do you live in your...
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I do live in my great aunt who passed away. I live in her house.
Okay.
Yeah. That was her house at one point, which is very lucky.
Growing up, did you have that kind of, that Italian, I know the house that I grew up in, it was a huge Greek family. They'd come together every Sunday.
Oh my God!
Did you have that kind of same?
I had my aunties and my nannies and my uncles, and my mom was always the host of family parties for every occasion, and we would have, we called them the cronies.
Yes,
I feel like the Mexicans and the Greek and the Italians were the same when it comes to getting together with family.
Family.
Yeah. And it was always
right?
my nanny's if you're not eating, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Are you sick? What's wrong? Eat. Why aren't you eating? Keep eating. Manja.
Do you have some real comfort food from the era? What would be some of
your
go-to food that you love?
Yeah, I love just classic pastina, just little pastas with chicken broth. There's this beef stew recipe that my nanny would make that I love. There's this pasta sauce that my nanny Lucy used to make, and we still have the recipe, and I still make that pasta sauce. And
you want to give me the recipe?
Yeah, I'll share the recipe with you.
Is it tomato based?
Yeah, it's like a meat tomato sauce.
Bolognese kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I always feel grateful to have had that family, and there's just something about that kind of family that's just you stick together and you love each other, and
that's great.
It's a good thing. My papa was definitely the most influential and important person in my life. And his death is still a big point of grief and process. But I'm so lucky. He was just everyone's favorite person, And so I'm lucky to have had him, imprinted on me. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How special is that?
Yeah.
Grandpa's always special.
I know.
My grandpa was special to me.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got close with they lived kind of far away in most of my youth, but towards the end, my grandfather on my aunt's, because he took care of my grandmother who had Parkinson's. So he had his own bachelor pad. That's what he called it. But really, it was just up above where she needed intensive care. And so we connected. It's always on food, on postcards, stamps, and fish sticks, which is so good. But, grandfathers are just, they're pretty great.
I was raised by my
Grandparents are great.
grandparents.
Mm-hmm. You too?
Yeah, my mom left me when I was 3.
What was your grandfather's name?
Herman. Big, tall guy. He was awesome.
Yeah.
It was funny because my grandma and him didn't live together, but they have 12 kids.
Wow.
So when they were fighting all the time, my grandma's what I used to do is his house was a block away from the school. So my thing was I used to go to his house in the morning, get breakfast, and then go to school. So sometimes my grandpa, and one day before, he'd be like, hey, I'm not going to get up early, so just go to the store, get a torta, and I'll go back in there and pay later. Just tell him like your signature that was back in there, like I'll go and sign, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So my grandma used to be like, do not go to your grandpa's. Don't eat anything. So I used to just go straight to school. So my grandpa used to go to the store to pay. He's like, hey, I'm here to pay. And then they're like, he didn't show up today. He's like, what? He's like, make him a torta. So he used to go knock on the door, on the school door, on my classroom. He's like, can I get Gerardo? He didn't have his breakfast. So he used to take me out from the classroom, sit me down, and eat the torta with him.
That's
he's like,
amazing.
do not listen to your grandma. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day to start your day.
And Gerardo still takes that into his life.
Oh, yeah.
He eats
full meal in the morning. I have to.
I love that.
So, so he was pretty cool guy. He always had something to say to me. Always. There's always little things that he used to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah. My papa was a whistler. You could hear him whistling down the block. Anywhere he was, you knew he was there because he was whistling on his way in.
Those Italians, that reminds me, I worked at Bella Cheese for a long time. So old Italian family.
Yeah.
And Ignacio Vella, he would listen to the ball game and all the time. In fact, he has a bridge over by Staples named after him. And if you listen closely enough, you'll hear.
My grandpa used to be a woodworker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's German descendant.
Beautiful. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My grandpa ran one of the big printing presses in San Francisco.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he did like canning labels and maps and books. And I think he worked the graveyard shift. So he was always driving late at night. It's amazing. He is one of those people who had a job and did it his whole life. And
yeah.
And then retired.
Exactly. You find a lot of that from that era.
Yeah, those old timers, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why I like Gordon.
Which is lucky.
Gordon is one of the old timers.
Gordon is our facilities guy here, but so much more.
Oh, yeah.
An old school Sonoma full of stories and history.
I worked with that guy when I was 21 when I started working with him.
Yeah.
Or 19 or something. And I was young, and he was like on his 50s at the time. And man, what a hard worker. He used to work harder than me.
We're going to have Gordon back on.
I know.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
I need to hear that episode.
Yeah. We do have a touch on it. I think one of the very first ones, we did the 70th show, which was a history of the Sonoma Community Center. And we interviewed Mike Acker, who is a historian of Boys Hot Springs. Yes. Mike's a fantastic artist as well. We interviewed Tom Collins, who started the ceramics department, literally dug that up. And we interviewed Gordon, who has so many stories about Mare Island and just the relationship of Sonoma.
Also, Gordon in the museum, all the, I think, postcards, they're all his.
Yeah.
Because he collects old postcards. So
yeah.
So a lot of his work is there.
Very cool.
And you're doing a lot of work with kind of the preservation of history. Tell me, are you working still with the...
Yeah, we're doing the Sonoma History Project, the grant that was involved with that. And we'll have an event hopefully coming up, I think this fall, where we'll display some of Mike's work and touch on the history.
Plaza history.
Yeah, touch on the history of the plaza.
Jim Silverman.
Jim Silverman is also a part of it. Yeah, and we're working with Patricia over at the Historical Society. And yeah, that has been a really cool thing to see some of the history and also some of the retelling truth of history and how we weave all those things together and try to do better with, naming things that maybe were kind of not so good and also celebrating some of the things and the communities that did some good things.
So you think there's a lot of families here in town that are still back from that 1800s, still alive? I mean, not alive, but history,
I do think their legacies are still alive, in terms of, I remember looking at a map of Sonoma when, who General Vallejo, after he kind of stole the land, who he sold the land to.
We don't like him. The traitor.
Yeah.
The traitor.
Exactly.
We call him, the Mexicans.
Exactly. But
If
you
someone
know,
was
you know
interested
the
in that
family
story.
names. You know the names because they're the street. There's Norbaum, Sebastiani.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Craig, all the Craig Avenue and that whole side, Carragher.
All of them were named
right?
after
Like
something.
they just bought all this land from him for like $4 an acre or something and named it after themselves. And those families, you know, Harristy, all those families still, a lot of them still exist here.
Nice.
So,
Exactly.
Nice.
yeah.
Like a
I want
third,
to hear a
fourth
lot of
generation.
that.
Yeah. So we'll definitely talk about some of the history of the different sides of the plaza and what certain buildings were attributed to and kind of some of the old buildings and history of like the people who ran those buildings and looking at specifically minority communities like the Chinese immigrants and some of the braceros, which was like a agricultural program that was happening at the time.
That kind of died down, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to learn more about it. That's kind of what I'm doing.
Salinas and Soledad, I think they still run those programs.
You do?
There. I think they do.
Okay.
Because there's that's where they start. That's like the central where they go, and then they start going to all these, you know, like apples, pears, and stuff like that. So they take them.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, if you're ever in Soledad or like in Salinas, it's like Mexico there. Just little Mexico.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I know that because sometimes I travel
Salinas
down to King County.
Yeah.
There's an army base down there. And if you drive through the army base past those places in King County, there's an incredible...
King City.
Yeah, in King City.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a county. I think
No, it's King City.
King City.
Yeah.
And there's like an army base out there, and we used to go out there every year with Herb School to do a camping trip. And there's like an incredible diversity of wildflowers and native plant life that lives on that like eastern Big Sur forest side.
Yeah.
And it's just like so rich and beautiful down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I like over there. It's pretty cool. My friends used to live there, so we used to drive all the way over there. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, man, Claire.
Okay, I
I
know.
mean, it sounds like we could go on and on and on. And by now, if you are still listening, I think we'll kind of start wrapping it up. What's next? Like what, I know you're doing all these different jobs, but what is of interest or travel or anything like, what do you feel like's going on next couple of years for you?
That's an interesting question. Well, I recently last year found a 6-week-old puppy. And so she's a year old now. So my life is kind of like,
She's your child.
She's my little Romy. Shout out to Romy.
Yeah.
She's like my little companion. And I feel like that has kind of changed my daily routine and like what I'm going to get into. I feel like I've done some traveling but now I have to consider this little being.
Absolutely.
And
like having kids.
how she's going to come with me. And so I don't totally know what's next. I think I'm kind of working on just combining all of these things I've learned and kind of seeing how to kind of, funnel them into something that feels like I'm really, one, having to live in capitalism and making enough, making enough money to live in Sonoma. And then also I think my point in doing the folk herbal school is definitely to get back into the world of plants and teaching more about them and having more classes and just sharing what I know, what I've learned, what I've had the privilege to learn.
My grandpa used to say, don't think about the past. Past is gone. Don't think about the future because it's not really secure.
Yeah.
Think about the present. Live in the moment. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
That's what I always done.
That's what you're doing really well. And I know you do it as well too. I think I hesitate to go towards the future sometimes, and that can get a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your fluidity and just knowledge of so many things that you've learned, and especially coming here to share them and getting to meet you.
Totally.
It's been like, oh, who's that? What's their story?
Yeah.
So,
I think Claire used to work for the CIA. I'm just saying.
Gerardo has a theory that and you do. You look a little different every time.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time you come in.
That's true. I'm a non-binary person who some days I'm want to be femme. Some days I want to be more
Awesome.
butch. Some days I want to be whatever.
Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And
That's
also,
great.
I do have to say, I'm, working with, people who are wanting a ceasefire in Palestine and wanting to free Palestine and just like the liberation movement around making sure that all people can be free and are not continually colonized. And so I do think that's a big part of what I want to be a part of and the communities I want to be supporting. So that's also what I'm doing.
That's
Perfect.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Claire.
Thank you
Claire.
for
Once
having
again,
me. I'm
you
so
can-
honored.
Oh,
You guys,
we
you
love
are the
having you
best.
here.
You are the
And
best.
there's a beach in the refrigerator for me.
As a
the thing.
reward.
Gerardo knows the way to my heart. He feeds me.
Yeah, that's what he does for us all. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and happy day. It's a beautiful
yeah.
summer.
I'll see
We
you,
will
Mom.
talk to you soon. Bye.